Vanzant versus Walmarans. Um, okay, this was the most hyped um, fight on the whole card by far, and rightfully so. I mean, Vanzant's the biggest name that's ever competed in Power Slap. She, for those who don't know, former UFC fighter, was on Dancing with the Stars, has done bare knuckle boxing, misfits boxing. She's done just about everything that you can do. Not sure how many millions of followers she has on Instagram, but it's a lot. And I mean, look at her. Let's be honest, she's hot. So a lot going for her. Um, I think that this was amazing matchmaking by Power Slap. I think it was perfect. Christine Wolmerans, one fight veteran in Power Slap. She lost to Sheena, who was the first star in Power Slap, really, as not only as a woman but just in general. So great matchmaking. Wolmerans is tough. I mean, it was gonna be a tough fight for Paige. Wolmerans has power, but not like Sheena. So I mean, if you're gonna match her up against anybody, it was a great pick. She's down, and it was a good effort. I got this one wrong. So Paige has always been a great striker. That's what she's known for as far as the UFC. So I was very confident that she would be able to put together some clean strikes. My worry with her was that when you're doing Power Slap for the first time, I thought that she would be very worried about committing fouls, which we know is the worst possible thing you can do in Power Slap. It's the quickest way to a loss, whether it's flinching or clubbing or whatever. So it kind of went how I expected it, in the sense that I think that Van Zant could have possibly put her down, especially in a 5-round fight. You could see her strikes were super clean, but they didn't have as much power as they should have, because I think that she was so worried about fouling. So, but I mean, regardless, this was one-way traffic. Paige had the significant strike every time. She never seemed to be rocked by Wolmerans. I mean, Wolmerans went down to a knee twice, which is crazy to me. I mean, if you listen to my Vern Turpin review, we talk a little bit about going down to a knee. And so, like, it's an immediate knockdown. It's about the worst thing you can do, is go down to a knee after being standing. It's just a horrible look, regardless of whether they stop the fight. I think they probably could have stopped the fight on the second time she, or on the third slap of Van Zant when Christine went down. I think you could have stopped the fight. She jumped back up and was walking straight, but just because you're walking straight does not mean you're straight. Okay, let's be very clear about that. One thing I have to address is that the flinching was a huge problem for Van Zant. I mean, I get it, she's new, and the natural instinct for anybody who's been a fighter in the past is to defend yourself. So like, we all knew that that was going to be tough for her. But just because she's new, that doesn't mean that it's not a foul, man. Like, yeah, it's completely understandable, but that doesn't mean that it's not a foul and that you shouldn't call it. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Paige flinched every single strike. Every strike. I mean, they finally called it on the last one, and I think they were extremely lenient with her. And the last one was to the point where, I mean, it was like, if they don't call it, I mean, people are really going to start looking into this, because let's be honest, you can bet on Power Slap. You can bet on Power Slap, and if they didn't call that last one, that would have been a really bad look. I think that, I mean, the fight was basically over, and I think for a second they might have thought about not calling that, but I mean, if you go back and look, like, that just would have been sketchy if they didn't call that. It would have been sketchy, so shout out to them for finally calling it, and then, I mean, she did it again on the last one, but at that point, I mean, there's just no way that they're going to DQ her on that after taking 2 slaps. So, yeah, I personally, although it was, an impressive performance from Paige, it still, like, they it was pretty clear that they weren't calling the flinching fouls on her. Um, as far as like where to go from here, I'd like to see her compete again. I think that she'll get better every time. I think that she could do really well. I think that she was undersized. I think that that's going to be a problem for her because the way that the divisions work with for women. I know she said that she doesn't think that cutting weight in power slap will help. I disagree. I think that one weight class is good. Like let's say if you walk around at like 185, I think that you should be fighting at 170 in power slap. I mean, at the end of the day, cutting 10 pounds isn't that much. I mean, you can do that half with dieting and half with water. And but if you're cutting like 25 pounds, I mean, there's a case to be made where that's diminishing returns. But I think that she's going to be undersized in just about every fight that she has, unless they start maybe opening up a smaller division. I think that you keep her as far away from Sheena as humanly possible. I think that Sheena is just a different animal, and I also think that Jackie, you keep her as far away from Jackie as possible as well. I think that you end up the perfect move if I'm power slap is to find somebody else to come in, another name, like a Michelle Watterson, for example, or the Karate High. She just retired in the UFC. She took a bad loss, but I think that somebody like that coming in similar size to make a debut, that would give her the edge as far as experience goes. I think that's the only thing you do. As far as Christine goes, I think that she's found her niche. Like, she's game. And I think that Power Slap will continue to give her that call when they need her. I don't think there's a huge appetite to see her fight again, but I think that she's a perfect step in for just about anybody. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about this. It was okay. I wasn't thrilled about, like, it didn't not, and again, I don't want to take away from Paige because it was impressive, but yeah. So take that for what it's worth. It was a decent fight. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't horrible. We'll see where she goes from here. I don't know if we'll see her again anytime soon. Seems like she's got a lot going for her. I don't know what kind of bag she made, but it seemed to be significant from what she said. So yeah, we'll see.